Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to my first Veeam user group for South Africa. I am joined today by Ian. He was originally setting it up and working with me to sort of get it off the ground and get it started. And I've been handed the torch now. So if you see me around, I'll be representing the South African Veeam user group. Thank you all for making or some time out of your busy days. I know it's difficult. We're going to try to do them a little more often going forward, but for now, we're going to do a few virtually. I'm hoping to do one or two more this year, probably just one, and hopefully start next year off with an in-person meeting. So if we can get that right, definitely, I hope everyone can come through. How it's going to work today, I'm going to hand over to Ian in a little bit and to discuss the AI. I just want to run everyone through, sort of do an introduction of what the Veeam user group will be for us, how it's going to happen going forward, and then I'll take it away with the presentation and hand over to Ian. Thank you for everyone that's joining us outside South Africa. There are a few people that are joining us. They're interested to hear about the AI and the topics we're learning today. So just a quick run through for the people that don't know. I know that there are a number of us that do know what it is, but for those of you that don't know, the Veeam User Group for South Africa is basically a space for the Veeam South Africa to just discuss. It is the main English-speaking Veeam group in Africa. There is a French-speaking group, but for our part, it's a place for us to sort of get together, learn from each other, do what we need to do, and help each other. It's for the Veeam community, by the Veeam community. So all of us, different partners, clients, anyone involved, we'll all meet up and hopefully build a stronger community. So develop something that can work together for all of us, help us grow, and become a place for us to communicate. We do have the Veeam University, the specialized Veeam groups. So we'll deal with that a bit later, but we'll have the R&D forums, the groups, and the university. So our group, our Veeam our Veeam community group for South Africa will be based around English, and a lot of the English speaking countries based around South Africa will be able to fit into this group. I'm trying to sort of get as many people as we can to join the group because currently it's quite a small group. I'd like to sort of grow it. We're going to see, I'm going to develop around the people that are working with me. I think Peter, I know, is very competitive in Lab Wars, so he's won it now 4 years in a row. So he's going to sort of see, and hopefully we can build a community around everyone that's here. In terms of the Veeam community group, we're going to have our virtual group, which is split off into the chats, the blogs, the networking, and that will be done primarily through the Veeam forum, the community forum. We'll break out into the Veeam user group events. We had one which is about 3 months ago, which we specialized in Exagrid. We're going to do some gatherings, some networking, but more just to get to know everyone in the community space as a whole. Rather than trying to build something from Veeam's point of view, we're going to build something from the users of Veeam. So we can help each other, grow each other, and move forward. So currently there's 29 Veeam user groups across America, EMEA, APJ regions. We'll fit into the EMEA region. We do have a number of European groups, as I said previously, but in Africa, we only have the French-speaking and the English-speaking groups. So currently we have VUG South Africa and VUG French-speaking countries. So we're going to try and sort of develop the English side of it. In terms of the other groups, you are able to join groups that are specifically tailored to each of your needs. So just because you're in the Veeam user group for South Africa, you can join for Karsten, for automation, Kubernetes, if you're interested in the containerization aspects of it, and get help from people that are in similar situations on a daily basis. That way we can also help each other. If you have experience in something that maybe someone else doesn't, then you are able to sort of grow and develop in that point of view. Our Veeam 100 is built up between both Veeam employees and the users of Veeam as a whole. You have the Veeam Legends, which is the highest honor you can get in Veeam, and that is for the top engagers in the Veeam community. So that will be on the R&D forums, on the Veeam community, in the user groups. They have a get together for the Veeam 100 where you get to spend, I think it's in Prague, a week with them, develop, engage, and sort of meet with the decision makers from Veeam. On the other hand, you have the Veeam Vanguards, which is the sort of chosen few within the Veeam community, and each represents a niche market or community. Then the Veeam MVPs is the most valuable professional. That's an honor for the Veeam staff themselves. Ian is one of those members, so he'll, I'm sure, tell you about it if you'd like to speak. And we will be doing a post to sort of do this if you are interested in joining it in the future. If you'd like to join the Veeam communication, this is typically where we're going to do it. So you can join the Veeam community forum. The VUG South Africa is the top link, and that is the Veeam official community forum for South Africa. So if you'd like to join the group, you're more than welcome to scan that QR code, and that'll take you to the official group where you can create a post and develop alongside everybody. What I've done is I've created a LinkedIn group sort of to drive traffic between the two. If there's interesting articles placed on the community forum, I'll be sharing it in the LinkedIn group. If there's something on LinkedIn, I shall push it across over onto the community group so that we have a sort of a two-way communication between the two. I know everyone might not be checking the official forums every day, so at this way you are able to do it, and you are able to sort of catch up on whichever social media you would like. If you would like to scan the QR codes, that will take you directly to each of them. If you would like to tag VUG South Africa, you can just use the hashtag VUG SA one word, and that will be able to put it in LinkedIn, and you'll see it there. If you'd like to directly contact me for whatever reason, if there's something you want to do, if there's an event you would like to see in the future, you are able to mail me there at jm@vugsa.com, and that will come directly through to me. I'm going to be using that as communication going forward in conjunction with the community at veeam.com. So between myself and whoever else is dealing with you, it'll either come directly from Veeam or it will come from the Veeam VUGSA. Occasionally, you will receive stuff from the no reply at VUGSA, and that's just because I can't always get bombarded by a huge amount of mail. So if you would like to reach out to me, just direct mail me on that email address. And with that, I'm concluding the VUG portion of it. I will be handing over to Ian to take us through the AI side of it.
Thanks, Jono. Just confirm, Jono, you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to take you through a little bit of a mixture of AI and how that integrates into backup, and how we should expect AI to interface with backup in the future. and then some built-in AI already inside of Veeam that you might not know of just yet. So just to kick it off, I mean, there's a lot of hype around AI, and I spoke to this before in a few conferences. Tech leadership in a lot of different companies and different organizations are pushing Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI, but not everyone quite understanding what Gen AI is and what the actual overarching AI in a broader sense means. But I love the little meme here. Everyone's just sprinkle a little bit of Gen AI on it, and then it becomes 100% better. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think there's a place and a time for AI in certain aspects and where we can automate where it makes sense. But a simple question, everyone's been using AI for some time without even knowing about it. So, before 9 a.m. today, if you were driving to the office, if you unlocked your phone, potentially use biometric recognition, which is built off of machine learning and AI, use Google Maps or Waze to help you find the shortest way to the office, avoiding traffic, that use predictive routing, which in the back end is AI determining which is the best way to go based on other Wazes or based on traffic feed from Google Maps. And then spam filtering, it's machine learning and AI being able to detect text and types of emails and bad domains using all of that information together and doing pattern recognition to basically block emails coming to your inbox. So before 9 a.m. today, you were using AI without even knowing it, right? And this brings me to the next point, which is the Gen AI is basically the term is just the tip of the iceberg. So we look at AI in a general sense, it's so much bigger, right? You have Gen AI, and then to use Gen AI properly, you need to understand prompt engineering, which means crafting your inputs into an AI chatbot correctly so that it gives you the best results. The more context, the better the response or the generative part of the AI is going to process. If we go below the iceberg or below the ocean level, so to speak, on the slide, it gets a little bit more technical and a little bit more valuable in my opinion. You have machine learning, which historically has been around for a very long time. And this is algorithms being able to identify anomalies or do predictions and things like that. This is the core of AI, and generative AI is all built off of some kind of machine learning. On the left, you have RAG, or retrieval augmented generation, which means we take simple generative AI, which is taught on some basic knowledge. Well, not basic, it's actually quite a large amount of information considered the internet, but it has no idea about your personal information, right? It has no idea about what's running in your organization. It's only trained on publicly accessible information. So to empower it or give it more context about your organization or your data, you use a system called RAG to basically inject context into the generative AI, right? So if you wanted it to see your local sales stats, you could present local sales stats to generative AI and then ask it questions. Who is the best seller? It'd be able to retrieve that via a RAG effectively, put in a very simple sense. Then AI agents are all the buzz right now. And this is automating processes. This is taking that knowledge base that's in generative AI, putting it into an agent to work autonomously on certain things, generate stuff, automate certain processes, right? This is most of the buzz that we're seeing in 2025. You can have multiple different agents. Chatbots are just another form of an agent. You could have agents that generate text. You could have agents that generate video, sound. You could have agents that automate certain tasks and so on. All these different agents can talk to each other, and you can use agent-to-agent protocol to do that. And that's called the agent swarm. But yeah, this is where autonomous thinking in AI comes from, leveraging AI agents in business workflows, in automation workflows. And then on the bottom right, takes you back to data. So for us to analyze data in the past, has been very static. It was crafting specific rules or specific algorithms or specific pattern matching um, formulas, let's call it, to find specific data, right? Where now AI built and trained on a huge corpus of information, we can use things like NLP, which is natural language processing, or NER, which is named entity recognition, to look at unstructured data and take context out of it, understand it because it's been trained on similar data, and tell us what that data is, right? For a simple example, for us in the past to find a credit card number or someone's name, you had to create, for example, a regex, which basically is a static command that tells the program you're looking for these letters in this sequence with so many numbers and so on and so on. And it tries to pattern match with that. But you get different types of variations of credit card numbers from different companies. So you would have to have multiple different sequences where imagine generative AI being trained on all the different types of credit card numbers that existed. And then you're just asking it to identify this number in this sequence and does it belong to a credit card? And it would be able to do that based on the knowledge it already has. So instead of creating some kind of static algorithm, you could leverage NER or NLP to do that. So that's the power that we're talking about beyond just Gen AI. And in the iceberg itself, I just put a few logos of different things like Spacey for NLP and NER, Pinecone, which is a type of vector database for RAG, Quadrant, same for RAG, Terraform, not Terraform, I forgot the name now, but you've got Hugging Face, you've got ChatGPT, Copilot, all in there. Those are just normal chat bots. You've got Midjourney that generates images. Yeah. So these are all different types of things. Scikit-learn, which can help you train machine learning models. These are all different types of toolkits that exist inside of the AI ecosystem itself. So it's much broader. I think the point there is much broader than just ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude Chat or Sonnet Chat, right? So if we look at an AI text sandwich, which I'm calling it, you have data everywhere. So you're generating data from the cloud, you're generating data in your server infrastructure, you're generating data in apps, you're generating data in SaaS like your 365 and so on. And the point is you have all this data sitting across all these different environments. How do we bring that in to some kind of AI, right? So embedded AI is the concept of proprietary AI shipped with a product. So within software, there might be embedded AI. So for example, Copilot in 365, that's an embedded AI that's powered in the backend by a large language model. And then bring your own AI is a new concept of instead of using what is provided by the service provider or the vendor like Microsoft and Copilot, imagine you wanting to now extend that data in 365 to something like Gemini or Claude because that's your preferred model, or you run your own model in your data center off of Llama's engine or something like that. You're inferencing your own model or you train your own model. Maybe you want that to connect to your data. And that's the concept of bring your own AI or BYO AI, right? And out of that, from the tech stack, you're getting contextual insights. So you're passing information into AI. AI is then either doing machine learning, NLP, NER, whatever the business or use case is, and then providing you contextual insights out of that information so you better understand. So if I go into a very high level view of what I'm going to speak about, and it's about how Veeam is approaching AI from a technology standpoint, and that is keeping data from cloud, from server, from apps, from SaaS in a vault of sorts, right? And we have Veeam Data Cloud Vault, which is cloud storage. You have your on-prem storages that you can attach to your Veeam backup server that could come from different vendors. It could be Veeam hardware repository, but the point here and why I'm calling it a vault is because it's immutable, it's malware scanned, it's verified clean. So it's a secure asset of data before you start moving that through some kind of data or AI pipeline. So that's the point here in calling it enterprise data vault, is because we need to assume that this data is secure and clean. You want to provide data to AI that is sanitized, is not going to compromise or leak any kind of information through some kind of AI workflow, right? Then Veeam Intelligence, which is VI, is already built into Veeam. If anyone's played with Veeam or anyone on the call has Veeam, you'll know about the chatbot in Veeam 1, you'll know about the chatbot inside of VBR, and I'll show you some examples of how that's used in the coming slides. But that effectively is our embedded AI. That is our proprietary AI that comes with the product. You install Veeam, you get an AI sort of co-pilot that is built into Veeam 1, that is built into VBR, as well as is built into Veeam Data Cloud now, which is our SaaS platform, right? And then MCP. So I spoke in the previous slide, you're seeing bring your own AI, and that is where MCP comes in. MCP is a universal protocol that was developed by Anthropic that effectively allows you to extend your own model into different platforms. So as Veeam, we took and taking MCP from Anthropic and then shipping it as an MCP server so that you can bring your own AI model. If you choose, instead of using our proprietary or embedded, you could use your own model from Claude or Gemini or something you've trained locally, plug that into Veeam, and effectively get the same experience as Veeam Intelligence, except bring in your own AI, right? So leverage your own models and access data securely via a protocol called MCP, right? So your model is going to get the same context as our Veeam Intelligence. And then out of all of this, the result is transforming raw data, unstructured data, into some kind of actionable intelligence, which is contextual insights. It doesn't help we have all this data, but there's nothing to do with it. So by passing this data into AI, we can unlock possibilities we never have before. We're able to understand certain things about our data. We're able to reuse that data in ways that we couldn't. You're now, and the great thing about doing this with backup is you've been keeping backups for years. You have the ability to assess information that you captured 5 years ago because it's sitting in backup. Imagine looking at all your sales figures across the last 5 years. We can easily access that kind of data through backup retention and backup copies, and basically pass that in and do some kind of analysis or predictions across all of that data. So that's the real power of integrating AI into the tech stack itself, right? And beyond production and into backup itself. So there is a use case there. So going into Veeam Intelligence, this is the proprietary AI, embedded in the Veeam software. So first of all, inside of Veeam 1, so I'm going to start with Veeam 1, there is the ability to disable it. Anyone that has a problem, or maybe problem is not the best word, anyone that sees a risk of sending their data outside of their environment to an AI, even though it's secured by us, has the ability to turn it off. So it comes in 3 modes: disabled completely, no chatbot; basic mode, which effectively makes the chatbot just an assistant, because it only responds to you about technical documentation. It's a model, pre-trained, has access to our technical documentation. So if you need to ask it a question in Veeam 1, it will tell you how to do that. But I'm mostly excited about the advanced mode. So you remember the iceberg. Advanced mode is effectively a RAG. So what it does is, once you query the chatbot about something, it actually actively fetches data from Veeam 1 inside of Veeam 1, bundles that up, passes that to the AI model as context, and then answers your question. So I'll show you how that builds out. So customer asks a question, right? Goes to the agent, so passes up into our agent, then decides which agent to assign it to. That's the agent swarm, multiple agents running inside this cluster inside of Veeam. And then it goes through a decision-making process. So what is the user asking? is it which agent do I need to assign this task to? Because there will be different agents based on the specific task the user is asking, and hence we have multiple agents. Then we need more context. So the user asked us something about their own information. Okay, so we need to fetch information from Veeam. So we grab data via the APIs inside of Veeam 1, and we return that to the agent swarm or the specific agent we asked the request to. The agent then processes that information and passes an answer back to the user itself, right? So you get context with your answer, and I'm going to show you the power of this, right? So this is a screenshot from the Veeam intelligence inside of Veeam 1, so the Veeam 1 RAG. This is just a prompt. So I've highlighted here, show me backup servers, including host name, version status, compare each backup version versus the current release info. Then I provided a link of a KB article from Veeam with the most recent release builds. And then it compared all of this, right? And then as well as compare this against the security bulletin to make sure there's no known vulnerabilities in existing versions that I'm running if they're outdated and so on. And then it goes through a thinking process where it gathered information about my environment, passed that up to the agent swarm, basically browsed the KB article, fetched all that information, compared that with the different agents, and then sent back a response. And the response is the table that is provided to me. So the different servers, their host names, their versions, status, are they at risk based on the security bulletin. You can see there's a different patch level on one of them. So yes, one of them's at risk, requires a patch, and then explains why because of the security bulletin KB article. So I could go read that and see what the vulnerability itself is and so on. But you get the point here. It's now fetching information from your environment, passing that up into Veeam AI and providing you information back, right? So it's not just some static response, it's actually intelligence in itself. The other great thing is it makes Veeam and your data more accessible. I did this example because it's South Africa, right? But the AI that speaks your language, I did this prompt in Afrikaans. I'm not Afrikaans, so I did Google Translate and paste this in here. But I can understand it, not quite read it. Can read a little bit of it. But anyway, I'm not going to read that out for you because I don't want to butcher the Afrikaans here. But you're asking it in Afrikaans. It's doing the same thing. It replied to me in Afrikaans, and that's the great thing. I actually did a post on LinkedIn similar in Zulu. So I asked it questions in Zulu. Again, I used Google Translate, and it provided me information about my environment in Zulu. So this unlocks huge amount of possibilities. Again, you're going to understand that the AI model in the back end is trained across a vast amount of different languages. It's basically trained on the internet. So if the language exists somewhere, you could potentially ask it in that language. So you're turning your information into some kind of actionable insight based on what best suits you, what best language suits you. If you think about Africa and Africa specifically, there's so many different languages across Africa. It is quite hard from a Veeam perspective to develop everything in a different language, provide Veeam user interface in different languages. So English, great to be a medium, but then use our intelligence to give you understanding in the best way possible in the language that you understand best. And this takes me to the next part. It's not just in Veeam 1. This is the Veeam intelligence inside of VBR. So Veeam Backup and Replication. This is a screenshot from Veeam Backup and Replication. And there's an AI assistant here. It's not RAG yet, but it has a huge amount of intelligence, has the ability to help you understand our product better, give you advice. So for example, here I asked it, how do I secure my backup server? Step by step, gave me links, explained what I should do, what's the best practice, right? Taking that even further as an assistant, again, help me step by step how to create a backup job. It will give me the exact steps here. Go launch Veeam Backup Console. In the home view, click X, Y, Z, so on. I'm not going to read it all out, but it'll basically help you. If it's your first time logging into Veeam, right? Very easy. Access the intelligence bot, ask it how to do things. If you're unsure, ask it. It will probably give you the right information. If it can't respond, it will provide you a link and you can further read up about it. The screenshot on the right, I really like. Everyone's heard of ELI 5, which is basically explain like I'm 5. If you've used ChatGPT, I'm sure you've used this. So a very complex topic, just ask AI to explain it to you like you're 5 years old, and it will break it down into understandable pieces. I'm not embarrassed to say I use that quite often when I'm trying to understand a topic, or I need to go further in depth in a topic and I don't quite have the fundamentals. So anyways, getting sidetracked, but here I prompted, I need to understand immutability. Explain it to me in 2 ways. Firstly, ELR 5, so like I'm 5. And then secondly, a technical breakdown, clear, accurate explanation for IT pros. And it basically gave me both. So the first prompt first output or part of the output was the ELR 5. So imagine you have a magic notebook where you can write down your favorite stories. Once you write down a story in the magic notebook, no one can erase it. This is a great analogy to explain to a 5-year-old how immutability works, but it really actually helps someone basically understand the really basics about a specific topic. And then you can go into the technical breakdown. So immutability in the context of data storage, and it actually explains the full-on topic to you. The point of that is if you need to understand a concept within inside a Veeam or a specific setting, use it. Use the ELI 5 method, get the basics behind it, and then ask it for a technical breakdown if you need to take it any further. It does more than just dumb down things to you for a 5-year-old or dumb it down for a 5-year-old. It can go beyond that. Here's an example of me asking it to write a PowerShell script for me to move certain VMs across different jobs. And it spits out a PowerShell script, right? The other one, and this is to be tested, I can't guarantee that every time it will be exactly the same, but you can ask it for a Yara rule. So anyone that's used Yara, it allows you to create custom scanning scripts or Yara rules effectively, and that's what it looks like. It's a bunch of strings, and Veeam will use a Yara rule to scan against your backup set to find tools that a threat actor would have used in compromising your environment or your server. So this example, we detected that the strain of Clop ransomware strain was in the environment. I need to eradicate all the tools they used in their kill chain. Please write me a Yara rule for Clop. There are better ways to get Yara rules. You can get them in GitHub, in reversing labs. There's a lot of different places to get it. But the point here is I'm trying to explain is it's not just simple processes that the Veeam intelligence agent can do. You might think of use cases or prompts I haven't even asked yet. But here it's written a PowerShell script. In PowerShell, it's written a Yara rule. The structure of the Yara rule is great. It looks right. Whether the strings are correct might be different. It's always changing depending on the threat actors. But yes, the point is there, it can do these enhanced type of prompts and outputs. This brings me into the second section of that tech stack, which is bring your own AI, right? And what that's powered by, like I said, is MCP, right? So let me build this out. MCP is like the universal plugin for LLMs. It's effectively the USB-C of AI for connecting data, your data, to AI, right? Doesn't require a lot of technical knowledge. You run an MCP server and you point at an AI chatbot or client to MCP. And it has the ability to use MCP to access certain tools to get the information, right? It really abstracts all the heavy technical, but it's the standard based across the industry right now. It's pluggable to different LLMs, so you can bring your own LLM pointed to MCP and you can get your information, right? You can use Veeam as a context. And what this allows is for richer Veeam applications, building different things, building your own AI application, being more customizable. So taking Veeam, you love Veeam is protecting your data. It's kept your data in a secure vault. You now want to plug that into some kind of intelligence. You don't want to use Veeam's intelligence. You want to use your own, run MCP, plug that into Veeam, it will automatically pull out all the data using the specific tools that we put behind MCP, and it then provides it into AI. From there, you can take it further, right? So here's a screenshot of me actually testing out the MCP. So this is Claude Desktop. If you haven't heard of Claude Desktop, it's a app you can download from Anthropic. So Anthropic is another AI provider similar to OpenAI, ChatGPT. Anthropic has Claude, right? Claude is their AI that you can chat to, but you can download Claude Desktop, which means you're running an app on your desktop, a thick client, and you can basically chat to it like you chat to ChatGPT, exactly the same. You can see from the screenshot. But what I've done here is I've connected this Claude Desktop to MCP. So when I ask Claude Desktop, perform a comprehensive health check of my Veeam environment and check for failed jobs, blah, 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 XYZ, it then goes and fetches the tool sets that it needs. So get backup sessions, get repository, get proxies, XYZ, and then fetches information from those tools as context. And then on the right-hand side, it basically outputted an entire report for me, a comprehensive health check report that shows my entire backup environment and its status, right? And it got that information from the tools, and it used its internal intelligence, which is the Sonnet model, to basically generate the report on the right. But if you logged into if you went to Claude now on the web, or you went to ChatGPT on the web, on your web browser, and you asked it the same question, it'll tell you it can't tell you because it doesn't have access, right? And this is where MCP comes in. Very simple, right? Plug it in. We can ask it. We have the power of this massive model, which took hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to train, and we plug it into our data, and we have the ability for it to then generate some contextual insights and output for us, which is the report on the right-hand side. This brings me to sort of the final topic, which is extending something that we've always had, which is our data integration API, right? So our data integration API inside of Veeam has been there for some time. It's basically an API you can call to automatically mount backup data. You can mount multiple backups at the same time, and this is not using our UI. So you can call a specific endpoint in Veeam, tell it which backups you need. It will mount them, which series of backups you need. It will mount them to a mount host, either in Linux or inside of Windows, depending on the operating system of the backup itself, and then provide you a path to that data. So I can take multiple backups of a specific server. Let's call it a server that holds banking transactions, for example. We can mount the last month worth of these backups. I can take that data, pass it through some kind of data transform or processing. So chunking it, embedding it, cleaning it, and at that point, pass that to AI for data analysis. Point here is we can use Veeam Data Integration API, Data API, to empower AI and machine learning pipelines. So if anyone is looking at doing AI and machine learning or have gone down that path, a great place to access data, clean data. Remember, I spoke about immutable, scanned, clean. We're doing that when we back up data. We're scanning it, we're making sure it's clean, and we're keeping it immutable, which means that data set can never change. This is key to AI and machine learning and training, keeping data consistent, keeping data sanitized, clean. We can take that information, pass it into a data API, via data integration API to AI or machine learning pipeline. So for example, I get distracted here, but if we go back to backups of a financial database with transactions, we can take an entire month's worth of backup because we backed up that database every day, for example. We can mount them all. We can do some kind of transform on the data. So query maybe some information out of the databases of all of those backups, pass that information, those specific transactions, to AI and tell it to analyze and pick up fraud. That's the power of using the data integration API. So this is about reusing backup data beyond just a chatbot and getting insights, actually making it actionable with inside your own machine learning or your own AI that you might be running inside your environment. Sorry, this is the final slide. So right at the end is now speaking to AI infrastructure itself. So if you are, let me build this out. If you are looking, already have some kind of AI infrastructure running in your organization or company, you might be inferencing models locally. You might already be using RAG. So you have some vector databases running in your environment. You might have trained your own models. You might have different pipelines or some automation flows, Lang chain or something like that running in an environment. You might have data that is accumulated, either created or data, training data that you're passing into this pipeline. We can protect every single one of these through Veeam already inside of the product. So AI infrastructure, most AI applications are running in Kubernetes. It's brand new. If someone's going to develop an application, generally it's going to be running inside of a container or AI-powered infrastructure inside a container on Kubernetes. Red Hat is doing a lot in that space from an AI perspective. Vector databases generally are going to run inside of containers as well. They're lightweight in most instances, but they can scale, and the best way to scale them is through Kubernetes. There is Postgres there on the screen, so you could be using PG Vector. That could run as a normal Postgres database on a physical server or virtual machine. Everyone that knows Veeam knows we back up Postgres, we back up virtual machines. We have the process to back up those types of databases. If it's some kind of niche vector database like Pinecone, and it's running inside of Kubernetes, we use Kasten and we use our blueprints to extend our functionality into the database itself to do a backup, right? So regardless of what the vector is, potentially there's a blueprint that you could pull that could protect that vector database if it's running in Kubernetes. And then pipelines and models themselves are treated purely as a bunch of files. It's pretty straightforward. If you have a version of a model, it's a file, might be multiple files, but those files change. It's us protecting files. It's a very basic method of backup. We can do that either through agents or backing up entire servers or backing up shares or network paths, depending on where the model is stored itself. And then data, your training data might be living in different places, right? So once you sanitize, once you transform it, you need to store it somewhere. Then before you pass it into an AI pipeline, we can protect that transformed data. So that could be, there's just examples here of S3 buckets, but that could be any kind of unstructured. Everyone knows and is familiar with Veeam knows we back up unstructured data, whether that comes from an S3 protocol or whether that comes from NFS or some kind of NAS or network protocol for unstructured data. So if we look into the future, and I'll build that out again, this is our ambitious target at Veeam, is to create more and more AI functionality within the product. And this breaks out into 5 different pillars or 5 different themes. It's AI infrastructure resilience, so improving on the previous slide, adding more and more integration, maybe more and more services that you're building AI on. These could be cloud-based services, protecting those cloud-based services that you're building AI models and doing AI training on. Data security. So as security changes, and this is very relevant, threat actors are using AI. It's always evolving. The attack vectors are always evolving. The techniques are always evolving. It makes perfect sense to incorporate AI to monitor and help detect ransomware or security activity within inside environment. So Veeam already has inline malware scanning, which is powered by a machine learning model. We can take this further. We're going to take this further, integrate more AI to do prevention or remediation steps, detection with inside the product itself. Data resilience operations. So this goes into lifting the heavy work of backup engineers and helping you understand your data in your environment. We're always backing up data. We're monitoring data with Veeam One. As we see data created, so doing auto discovery, automatically finding things with inside of your environment, automatically classifying them, automatically protecting them, automatically archiving based on lifespan, cost optimization. These are the types of resilience operations we could potentially automate using AI within the product. Then data intelligence, this takes me back to the first slides. Part of it being MCP, part of it being the data reuse API, as well as when I spoke about NLP and NER, it's about unlocking insights inside of backup data, parsing backup data through some kind of custom AI application and providing you with data intelligence. So this is talking about providing that embedded within inside of Veeam, providing you some kind of intelligence in that. And then Admin Assist is improving on the intelligence that I already showed you. So VBR, the intelligence there, the intelligence assistant there, and then of course the intelligence with inside of Veeam 1, making that even better. I've seen some previews of what's coming. It's going to be very great. It's going to look awesome in version 13. And there's a lot more planned around that. So just making life easier, lifting operational tile effectively off of backup engineers. So you can have, if you are backup engineers on the call, you can have more time to do what you want to do, because a lot of the heavy lifting will be done by these little agents that run inside of your backup environment. Effectively, these little agents will be your employees that you manage, your backup engineers, and you just tell them what they need to do, whether they need to monitor certain things or provide you certain reports or change backup schedules or create backups for you. You'll be able to communicate with them in your natural language. So just chatting to them, whether that be in English, Afrikaans, or Zulu, and they'll be able to then incorporate your requests and do that for you. So that's about admin assistance and lifting that operations off of you, taking away a lot of that manual burden. We put all of that together. This is going to be a very busy slide. You have all the workload engines inside of Veeam, right? So all the different backup engines that we use or have released different products for. When I say that, for example, backup for Salesforce, backup for Azure, backup for 365, backup VBR, backup for Kubernetes. So you take all these different workload engines, we push data from them into a data vault, an enterprise vault of sorts that has backups, it has archived data. We inventory all of that information. So we pass through metadata, cataloging, the metrics from those different workload engines. On top of that, we pass from the inventory and the data vault into intelligence and classification engines. So being able to do data classification, understand workload signals from the inventory stores. So seeing if jobs are slowing down, certain things like that, taking all of that metadata. And if I build this out even further, right, we extend that with MCP, and then you have AI-powered apps effectively. You have admin assistance, you have data resilient operations, you have AI-enabled data security, right? So this is on a very high level of how that previous slide comes together as a vision and what we're planning in the future, and what we already have some of, and what we're planning and where we're going as a strategy when we look at AI, putting that all together. It all comes from your data, empowering either signals, classification, resilience, so on, through different layers of AI, machine learning, and intelligence, right? And the MCP comes in here because that is still a customizable or extensible protocol that allows you to still bring your own AI. So there's proprietary, bring your own AI. I want to make that clear. That's big value add, because most cases you're forced to use an embedded AI and use it the way that it's designed to be used only, where you have a lot of customization when it comes to MCP. I just showed you Claude desktop. There's a lot of different other things you could do. I built a basic demo today about using Copilot and extending MCP from Copilot in Azure down into a backup server. So it's endless use cases from MCP because it is just a common standard protocol that most of the industry is using. And to wrap everything up, resilience isn't just a safety net, it's your launch pad. So backup always been around security, protecting your data, being compliant. As you can see from the slide, we're talking about reusing information, getting value out of backup, empowering AI using backup data, and just, yeah, walking into the future when it comes to backup. What's next in backup is backup powered by AI itself. And thank you very much for listening to that. John, I don't know if there's any questions. I know we have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ian. So there was just one question. I didn't see any others. If anyone else does have one, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and we could take it from there. But they were asking on the Veeam Intelligence, can it add on and build on to the security and analyzer?
The built-in security analyzer.
Yes.
It's not built in right now, but potentially yes. From Veeam 1, yes, because Veeam 1 has a threat dashboard. So in Veeam 1, all of the security compliance analyzer and all the security events are passed into Veeam 1. And in Veeam 1, you have the threat dashboard. If you access the Veeam 1 intelligence there and you ask it questions about your security posture, that's the right word, it will access from compliance analyzer, it will access all metrics about malware, all metrics about best practice, RPO anomalies, all of that information, it will pass into Veeam Intelligence. I see Stefan is replying. He probably has a better answer than me.
There we go.
Yeah.
The link is always the easiest.
Yeah. So the threat dashboard collects all of that information. You can query that with the intelligence agent inside of Veeam 1. That's the simple answer. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
And then the one final thing from my point of view is that we do have some Veeam stickers that we're giving away whenever we have the in-person events. So if you do bump into me and you see me around, you're more than welcome to come tap me on the shoulder, tell me you want a sticker, and hopefully I shall see you or see everyone in the future. We're hoping to do a few more events than we did this year over the next year, and maybe hopefully 1 or 2 more this year. We just need to sort of decide what we're doing. So just a reminder to reach out, drop me a mail on that jm@vugsa.com. If there is a topic you'd like to hear from, I'll try to find someone to speak on it. If not, I'll come up with some topics, and hopefully we can sort of build the brand and build the group throughout South Africa. And thank you so much, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we shall chat in the not too distant future.